French President Emmanuel Macron says the reduction of its military presence in the Sahel will begin in the coming weeks. He made the comments following a virtual summit with leaders of the G5 Sahel countries. The conference is the first since Paris announced the reduction of its military presence in the region back in June. The drawdown of France's Operation Barkhane, which currently has about 5,000 soldiers in the Sahel, comes as a worry to those fighting jihadists. Macron is promising that an international alliance will help secure the region going forward.
The meaning of reorganizing our presence is above all about maintaining our engagement in the Sahel. We remain engaged in the Sahel because the countries in the region asked us to. This is something that risks being ignored, but that we must constantly remember. It is neither France's purpose nor its desire to remain in the Sahel forever.
And for more on the story, we're joined by our international affairs editor, Armen, Georgian. Armen, good to see you. Macron is doing what he can to reassure the G5 countries. What do you make of what's been said so far?
Well, he's been talking about a pivot to the south in the fight against jihadists, and he used a map, which unfortunately was very hard to make out the details in this press conference because it was sort of at the back of the room. But the basic gist of it, as I understood, was that the focus had to be further south because of the threat from Boko Haram, as well as, of course, the existing terrorist groups that are at the heart of the G5 countries, particularly the so-called Islamic State group of Greater Sahara. But the pivot is going to be towards Nigeria, Benin, Togo. So that sort of area, if you will, broadly speaking, that's what he was talking about. And in terms of practical details, well, it means that Niamey, the capital of Niger, is going to be much more militarized, will be more have a more muscular military presence. That was Macron's phrase, with more aerial resources, so French Air Force support to counter-terrorism operations. Those will be increased in Niger, in Niamey. And that was a point taken up by the leader of Niger that's standing next to Macron, who said, there are certain things that we have that we don't need French help for, but other things that we do need French help for, particularly when it comes to air power and also electronic surveillance. So those were the two things that were mentioned by the president of Niger. Now, in terms of Takuba as well, this was mentioned by Macron. That's the European task force that is supposed to essentially take over from French troops. That is going to be also made into a more efficient force, at least that's the plan and the hope. And he also mentioned the EU training mission for Mali, which is supposed to become more kind of a long-term prospect as well. And in terms of the timetable for the French withdrawal, Monty, we didn't really get details. Macron was asked about that, but he said, for security reasons, I can't tell you exactly how many troops are going to be withdrawn by a certain date. He also didn't want to say which bases are going to close first. He was asked about that, but there are numerous French bases in the Sahel, particularly in Mali. But as you said, he was trying to be reassuring, and he's told his partners that there would still be French troops in the region, if not necessarily in the existing G5 countries. Although, as I said, there will be a French military presence in Niger for sure. But all we can say is that there will be 2,500 to 3,000 French troops by 2023, so that's a drawdown of roughly not quite half of the existing French troops over the next year and a half.
Okay, International Affairs Editor Armen, Georgian, thanks as always.